What's up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of PB Sports Talk, NFL 2025 free agency. It's kind of the day after, right? Free agency is not over, but most of it took place yesterday. All the big names took place yesterday. We'll see some dribbling in of lesser names here as we go forward over the rest of the day and up until the draft. So most of this is going to be focused around the Lions. I'm from Detroit, 52 years in Detroit, massive Lions fan my entire life. So obviously, I follow them very closely. They were a big inspiration into me developing a talk show and taking my love for sports and kind of putting it out to the world. So I just got to tamper down some of the frustration. I see it a lot all over social media. We're sitting on our hands. What's next? Oh my gosh, we're not doing anything. What's Brad Holmes doing? This and that. Down on the bottom, obviously, you'll see some things. Our draft, the Lions draft selections coming up for where we pick, multiple draft picks, and the fact that we acquired DJ Reed yesterday to essentially replace Carlton Davis. So let me touch on that first. So Carlton Davis made it known that he was most interested in the money. Guy's already won a Super Bowl, so maybe the money and a last contract or two was most important to him. Whatever the case, he's already won at the highest level, so he basically wanted out. You weren't going to sign him for the money that he wanted, and it makes sense. So he's 6'1", 206, and you replace him with basically the number one corner on the market in DJ Reed. Smaller guy, 5'9", 188. Both of them are 28, going on 29 shortly after the season begins. DJ Reed with a 2-inch vertical leap higher, 2-inch higher vertical leap, 40 times are almost exact. Interceptions, career-wise, 11 for Davis, 6 for Reed. But a quicker guy in space in Reed than in Davis. Davis, obviously bigger, more physical, 13, 15 pounds heavier, more of a physical guy, and he was a known commodity for us versus Reed in terms of playing for the Lions is not a known commodity, but we'll take that any day. One of the key factors, too, that I don't think a lot of people realize, and you can look around the league and you can look at crazy spending, and you can look at Lions historically with the crazy spend. The Lions were known for decades on overspending to get guys, and it would be like flashy, right? The guys like I can just throw out a couple of names. Golden Tate would be one of them. He really jumps off out of my mind in terms of somebody that they very much overpaid for. He was not a number one guy and not a number two guy. And Az Hakim would be another one off the top of my head. That's not the Lions anymore. All right. You want to look at teams like the New England Patriots as an example. Before I get back to the Lions specifically, New England Patriots has holes all over their team. They had the number one cap space in all of the NFL, and they had so many holes that they needed to fill. Most ideally, that's not how you want to build your team. You want to build your team through the draft, develop from within as the overwhelming majority of your team. And if you can, not if you can, really need to, from the trenches out. These stretch picks. Now, I'll be honest. I wanted Myles Garrett and or Trey Hendrickson and or Hassan Reddick. If you look at the money for these guys, it's out of control. Carlton Davis got $20 million a year, and they essentially replaced the same guy for $16 million a year, savings of $4 million. Obviously, both of them were 3-year terms. That is a responsible franchise. That is a responsible organization. And Lions fans, how many times have we been able to say that in the past? In the past 4 or 5 years, yes. But 10 years ago, 15, 20, 25, no, we were never really ever able to say that because they were always chasing. With the exception of, what was it, 89, 88, 89, when you had Spielman, Blades, Barry Sanders in the same draft. Those were all, Jerry Vinisi was involved in that, just going way back. They were able to draft within guys like Kevin Glover, Lomas Brown, William White. Those are some of the guys. They did a better job in that frame of time. But overwhelmingly over the years, Charles Rogers, Roy Williams, Eric Ebron, first round pick, TJ Hawkinson, first round pick, Brandon Pettigrew. These are tight ends. Pettigrew was at 20, Ebron at 10, Hawkinson at 8, off the top of my head without looking. That's just off of memory. First round draft picks, when you have holes all over the field, you're going to go take this flash guy, offensive, hopefully fill the seats. It's not how you build an organization. So in free agency, when you are more selective like this, a little bit more deliberate like this, it's a sign of the fact that you have a good team. You don't have holes everywhere. You're not desperate. You're in a position of strength, not weakness. And so you're looking to fill holes creatively, selectively, and responsibly to be responsible to the cap. You will pick your spots when needed, and you might even pick your spots throughout the year, and you might even pick your spots in the draft to be a little bit more explosive. But to just go sign guys for the sake of signing guys because they're big names doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And while our first instinct, mine included, is man, did we get Trey Hendrickson? Did we get Myles Garrett? Did we get Hassan Reddick? You look at a team like Washington, they're splashing all over the place. You look at New England splashing, Arizona with the signing of Sweat. It's like, and I wanted him too. It's just like, guys, gals, recognize who the Lions are now. I know it's different for us. It's a different feeling. I totally trust in what Brad Holmes is doing. I think he's doing the appropriate things, and it isn't over yet. These guys clearly believe, and it's hard to argue, the history of drafts with Brad Holmes at the helm, for which there have been four. Last year was probably the weakest of the bunch. You can't hit home runs on every pick every single year, 5, 6, 7 deep. But they clearly believe that they have something from within and that they will draft from within to fill the spot opposite of Hutchinson. They drafted Josh Pascal high, and they feel like he's their guy. I don't necessarily feel that. But until you can responsibly add at that spot, you're going to go for, say, a Myles Garrett at $40 million a year when you basically, and this is debatable, you can argue who's better. Is Myles Garrett better? Is Trey Hendrickson better? Is Aiden Hutchinson better? Now you have, the market has been completely reset. So what do you think Aiden Hutchinson's going to be asking? If Myles Garrett is worth $40 million and Aiden comes back healthy, what do you think he's going to command? He's commanding more than $40 million. So you can't put $40 million on one side and $45 or $50 million on the other side and have 90 of $279 million cap allocated, $80, $90 million in two players. That's a third of your cap. It's going to go up, but of the 2025 cap, it just doesn't make any sense. So we need to have perspective in terms of what we have. Aleem McNeil in the middle, you got to think about that. Guys like Brian Branch, you got to think about that. Guys like Jahmyr Gibbs who are going to be up. You got to think about that, right? So let's just have perspective, and let's just not worry about they're on their hands. Trust in the draft coming, trust in the philosophy, trust in the model. Femi from UCLA number 2, he could make a big difference on this team. There's some other guys. That's who I personally have vouched for. But guys, just relax. Relax. All right, on the bottom of the screen there, you see round 128, round 2, number 60 overall, round 3, 101, round 4, 133, round 6, 198, no fifth at this time, and then 2 in round 7, 230 and 246. All right, and I'm going to pop it up on the screen here in just a moment. Let me get this up here a little bit bigger for you. Look at the depth chart here. All right, so you have, let's go here. You should be able to see that on the screen with where my pointer's at. In the orange, there's DJ Reed being pushed into, or put into the first spot at the right cornerback. Amik Robertson, who did a hell of a job last year until he got injured, at the nickel back. Kirby at free safety, Branch at strong safety, and then Terry and Arnold at the left cornerback. And look over here, back to the nickel back, is you have Enos Rakestraw, who they believe, or did believe, Ennis Rakestraw, that he can move around some. So you've got a lot of depth here. And you got guys like Branch that are going to have to be paid. DJ Reed, obviously, you just paid. Terry and Arnold entering his second year. So you're pretty okay there. And then look over here on the left defensive end is obviously Hutchinson. And then in your right defensive end, you signed Marcus Davenport to a very team-friendly deal. and there's Pascal again. And are either of those world beaters? No. But until you can responsibly upgrade that position to go put Miles Garrett or even Trey Hendrickson, probably not. As much as it sounds great, probably not. And then, hey, let's just think. Let's say that the season is progressing to the extent that you can make a move in season because you truly feel you're tracking, and then you maybe add to that spot. You're going to try to address it in the draft, but if you cannot get it in the draft around the trade deadline, you're going to maybe look to plug a spot. Maybe you're going to look to give a future a pick type of thing. Maybe it's a rental player, etc. But I think they're overall. Add myself back in here. Um, I just don't think that there's any reason to panic. I think they're in a strong position, a position of strength and not weakness, so they're acting different. Lions fans, again, not used to that at all. In terms of the Lions window, I think that they're designed and set up with the philosophy of trenches out and build throughout the draft. Don't build through free agency. Don't build through trade. Make yourself better, but don't have that be your focus. So, as New England, as an example, now that's going to take years now to rebuild from within and draft because you have a bunch of free agents that you went out and got, some 7, 8 guys yesterday. Those are not your long term players. Most of them are not your long term players. They are not, 22, 23-year-old guys. So they've reset and they need to get the players to be competitive. Obviously, you know, help the fan base feel more better about the team and just outright be competitive and give Drake May something to play around. And they had holes everywhere. So I understand why they did what they did, but you don't want to really be in a position like that. That's not a great position to be in. And they're drafting high again, relatively high. Yeah, number 4, I believe. Um, that's where it's got to start. So, Lions fans, take a breath. Everything's going to be okay. It's not over yet. There's a lot of time left, and I think we are in great hands with Brad Holmes and Spielman, other guys up there, Dan Campbell, obviously. They're going to be absolutely fine. So hang in there. Um, Always the biggest price guy is not the best in the best interest of the team, short and long term. So we'll keep an eye on it closely here over the next week or so. See what changes. I have my 1.0 mock that came out this past Saturday. I'll have the 2.0 probably in another, not this Saturday, probably the following Saturday as we get a little bit closer to draft time, and we think we see things kind of settle in and what they do free agency. I don't like to put six mocks out, 7 mocks like some of the guys, 3, 4, 5 mocks. So much of it depends on how the team shapes up after free agency. So look for that. And I got some other cool stuff in the works coming soon here as well. All right, guys. So wanted to drop in and drop some info there on the Lions. Everybody breathe easy. Everything's gonna be great. Till the next time, we'll talk to you soon. All have a great day. Bye bye now.